thanks a lot for coming. And it's now the 2000 AD panel. We haven't introduced ourselves yet, have we, Alex? So.
No, sorry, so we haven't introduced ourselves yet.
Yeah, I'm Tony Esmond. I write for a website called Down the Tubes. Please go there, downthetubes.net, and I'm a co-host, along with the bloke at the end of the table, on a podcast called The Awesome Comics Podcast. So have a listen. It's a bit blue. I'm sorry about that. This is the 2000 AD panel. So today we've got, let's not call him a veteran. Let's not call him that. But we've got Jeff Anderson here. A little round of applause for Jeff. Jeff's got over 30 years of experience working in publishing, and he's worked on titles such as Dread, Transformers, Spider-Man and Zoids. That's a cracker from the past, that one is. Yeah. Death's Head, personal favourite of mine, Mystech Wars, and many, many more. Also on the panel, we've got Adrian Salmon. Round of applause for Adrian, please. Thank you. With moody lighting, iconic angular images, and cryptic foreboding, Adrian is an artist who's from 2000 AD Clubhouse. He's also worked extensively with Dredd and Anderson, and he's very busy at the moment on Doctor Who, which we all love. Thank you. At the end, thanks, Mum. At the end of the table, we've got Vince Hunt. Round of applause for Vince.
Thank you.
Vince is not Clint Langley, although I might pretend he is when we get a bit further in. If it gets boring, I'll spice it up a bit. Vince is the creator of the Red Mask from Mars and Stalkerville, and he's also the co-host with me and the Gunsmoke Vanguard on the Awesome Comics podcast. So we're going to have a little chat with them, and then about halfway through we're going to break to ask for some questions from the audience. So if you have got something you've been dying to ask about 2000 AD, then feel free. He's off. Okay. Now the magazine turned 25 this week, didn't it? 25 years old. I remember buying the first issue. And I thought I'd open up with a nice sort of easy one for each of you guys. What's your best memory from 2000 AD ever? What's the iconic image in your mind if you had to quote something?
I think for me it's the Brian Bolland illustration of Dredd smashing his fist through one of the Dark Judges.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, for me, Bolland just sums up everything about the early 2000s and early Dredds.
What is it with Bolland? Do you think he's overpriced himself now? Do you think we'll ever get him back?
No.
Adrian, what about you?
Probably Slain by Mick McMahon.
Okay.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
For me, I think for me, it's not been touched since, even though there's a lot of really talented painters have worked on it. I don't know, I just like the black and white and the way he worked with it.
Yeah. On
that particular, that cross-hatching sort of, it wasn't even just cross-hatching, it was some sort of weird style that he came up with.
I was in the offices once and they showed me the original artwork for that, and it was done on layout paper in felt pen.
Right.
It was just amazing.
Yes.
Tombow pens. That's what.
He lost his confidence, so he had to work on. Yeah. So he had to sort of work in this weird sort of. He said it was tracing paper, but
yeah, it was like layout paper.
It was It
was absolutely. You're right. It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yeah. Did you guys get access to the underground files at 2000 AD when you went there? Did you ever have a look at any?
No, but if I went in, if you went in the office to deliver artwork, which you did, 20 years ago or whatever, if the new stuff had come in, they'd probably show you what was happening after you'd done the business with yours and say, oh, by the way, look at this, and you go, oh my God, this is brilliant,
Yeah, put you right off.
Yeah.
Why am I bothering so?
But I used to love that. These days you just email stuff, it's just not the same. I mean, I kind of feel sorry for the creators nowadays in one respect, that they don't have that, those moments that they can remember of seeing stuff.
When we were lads.
When we were, yeah.
Do 2000 AD still have like a big office and stuff now? Do they have like a big building?
They've moved now out towards Oxford, haven't they? Is it?
They've moved from Kingsreach Tower. They were near Cannon Street. That was at the Egmont building, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. It was the Egmont building, and they had quite a big office in there.
Oh. Yeah, because I think it was in Fleet Street, wasn't it? Was it Fleet Street? Because I know the basement flooded and ruined a lot of the because it was actually the Fleet, wasn't it? The River Fleet that ruined a lot of the pages. Yeah.
When it was Fleetway, it was I still think it's King's Reach Tower they
Oh,
were
okay.
working from.
Right. Okay.
Because that's where they had an image of it in the comic with Tharg at the, it was like a spaceship.
Ah, okay.
And I remember Mick telling me that they used to go in there, deliver the artwork, and then they'd go down to the restaurant and get egg and chips and stuff. That was the best part of the day, apparently.
Because it was a big sea change in Slane, especially from Bellardinelli, who'd done it beforehand, didn't it? Bellardinelli had started it, or certainly before McMahon, and then McMahon took over, and it was almost like two sides of the fandom. One side quite liked it, and one didn't. Do you think that's where 2008 changed its style to a certain extent, or?
What do you mean changed?
Well, it became more pushed by the fans than it did appear to be a general.
I don't know. I think it's just. I think they were always looking for artists at one point because they started to hemorrhage them as well. Once the Americans started to see what these guys were doing at 2000, they came headhunting people like Bolland and Gibbons and McMahon not quite as much, and Kevin O'Neill, people like that, and so they had to fill the gap. So there would be another group of guys that come in and stuff. So different styles just turned up, or variations of earlier styles. Yeah.
Vince, you do a sci-fi comic, which could easily, to me, fit in 2000 AD. Did it influence you at all, or did any strips influence you?
I think in some ways it did, yeah, definitely. I mean, stuff like Dredd and Rogue Trooper, like reading those when I was growing up, that sort of aesthetic. I mean, the imagination that was going on in all the 2000 AD stuff was just mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And to get that on a weekly basis when you're a kid was just awesome. Without a doubt, some of it, that, especially the British aesthetic, it has a very British feel about it, and with its humour and its art and everything, and that's definitely stuck with me all the way through. I think.
Yeah, the dark
especially
humour.
things like I'm very much a visual person, so the design of the characters, like Dredd's iconic, and Rogue Trooper was always my favourite one. I could draw him forever. The design of Rogue Trooper is just amazing. So it was always the visuals that did it for me. To have the different style, like you go from Rogue Trooper to then Slane.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Not many comics have the guts to sort of do that sometimes. They'll all be one kind of thing, whereas 2000 AD sort of pushed it in different directions.
Yeah, well, we talk on the show, we did a Pat Mills episode, and you've got to look at a guy who's written Slane, ABC Warriors, and then he's gone on over to stuff in Crisis. It's very different stuff, all in one comic. Okay. What would be your perfect lineup for other than including yourselves, what would be your perfect lineup for a 2000 AD comic?
Creators or strips?
Both, yeah. What would you like to see in it? Yeah.
10 minutes of silence.
Yeah. I think you always go back to the period that you first started buying it. It's like with any comics. If I'm drawn to comics now, it's comics from the 60s.
Yeah. Okay.
And the lineup for me would be the people who were there when I first started buying it. Bolland, Gibbons, McMahon, maybe Glenn Fabry as well.
Right, okay, yeah.
People like that.
I think when you first get into it, you don't, certainly when I was a kid, I wasn't always looking at the names, but, the stories were doing all the work. I don't always know the names so much now, but the stories just stick with me. And you will always remember the first character you liked when you got into 2000 AD.
Yeah.
Like for me, Rogue Trooper brought me in. It was a cover with Rogue Trooper on it. That immediately brought me in. And then I was in love with Dredd forever. But my brother, who's like 10 years older than me, he was a big fan of Strontium Dog.
Right, yeah. I love
everyone
Strontium Dog.
had their own character.
So do you think Dredd should be in every issue? That's the question I'm kind of aiming for. Every issue have a Dredd?
It's interesting because I think he is normally, but because of that, I think some of the other characters get a bit overlooked.
Right, okay.
Do you know what I mean? But
what about you guys?
Yeah, I think he should. But like I say, Rogue Trooper was one of my favourites as well, and I don't think he was used as much as he should have been.
Yeah, and he's been gone for a while, hasn't he? So I know we've had versions of that period, but yeah. What about you, Adrian? What would be, if you had Dredd, we have to have Dredd. Let's say we have Dredd in the comic.
Yeah.
Who would be the second character you would have to have in it? Who's the second most iconic character?
Oh, oh God. Probably, I don't know really. I suppose Rogue Trooper maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
I was thinking for a minute Strontium Dog, but he kind of came into it quite late. But then again, he's quite popular as well.
Yeah.
I don't know, Slain. There's loads of them.
There are, yeah.
And then there's all the new stuff some of these guys are doing,
Yeah.
That's the thing I like about 2000 is, even though it sort of pays homage to the older characters and Dread and certain things are in it, they do look for a forward. Otherwise, I think it'd just self-replicate itself. It would become.
Yeah.
I think
okay.
It wouldn't work.
What about you two? What has been your favourite personal work in 2000 AD? What's the bit you're most proud of?
Well, the thing is, I haven't done a lot on 2000. I worked on the magazine mostly.
Yeah. The magazine. Yeah.
My favourite thing was Judge Karen.
Right. Okay.
Maybe because it was the first thing I was given. I was showing some samples to editor David Bishop, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'll give you some work." And next minute, the first of a 6-part series landed on my desk. I was like, I freaked out practically. I started it, and about 3 days later, I just took in what I got because I was so unsure about this, and he loved it, and that was it. The blue touch paper was lit, and off I went.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah.
But,
because you were the first person to draw that character, were you?
No. It was created by Dean Ormston.
Right.
It was in a one-off sort of Dread album called Raptor.
Right.
And it was based on his girlfriend, actually.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, because she has red hair as well.
Right.
So, no, I was the second artist.
Right. Okay.
But apparently she's now in some sort of stasis with a vampire in control of her. So that was someone else doing.
That's the curse of Side Division, isn't it? I think you just get put in stasis for a while.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they'll call me and I'll. Hopefully I'll get the call and, I'll be back on her again one day. As long as she stays in stasis.
Yeah, don't get on her too quickly, on the police round. Okay. So what are they doing right and what are they doing wrong? How do you see 2000 AD advancing?
I'm not sure. I think it's for me it seems more geared towards the American audience now. With an eye to that and the games market. And I think what attracted me to 2000 AD, apart from the artist, was it had a lot of humour in it and satire, and I don't see that now, which is a shame.
I'm not sure, really, to be honest. I mean,
Do you think they're seen more as licenses rather than characters now?
I thought that when Rebellion bought them, I thought that's what they bought them for, the characters for games. But there's a Rogue Trooper game, but I'm not sure what else there is. Perhaps there is something else. There doesn't seem to be a lot. But with the move to letting IDW in America do Dread, they're again making attempts to make inroads there, but letting an American publisher do it. So I don't know how that's going, how well it's going. Otherwise, I guess they just keep doing what they do, don't they? I mean, they've had the same editor now for. I think Matt Smith's been there for 50. I think he's the longest editor. It must be by now. So I don't know whether.
I think the only thing for me personally, and stuff like this is always an awkward point, is just the price of it. Obviously, when I was a kid growing up, they were like 35p, 50p a week, and now they're like £2.50, £3. I can't remember the last time, and that's great. I mean, I know the magazine's a little thicker, isn't it? Yeah, but if you're paying that every week, you're paying like a tenner. Whereas an American monthly comic is £3, £4. I know sometimes the price point has put me off, like doing it weekly, but at the same time, they have their subscriptions. The people that are 2000 AD fans will stay with them. They will keep going. They'll subscriptions as well. I mean, I think that they probably benefit a lot from that. I think in the UK.
Plus, of course, they've got all the trades they do.
Yeah.
Of the old stuff and the new stuff.
Yeah.
There's always, there's always lots of stuff coming out on the market. So they must. I know they do pay though for reprint. They're one of the few that do, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know you'd be surprised. Like someone like as big as Panini. No. and that's something that I think really needs changing there. But it was fantastic because they reprinted Karen last year, and last year was not a good year for me because I was being treated for cancer, and so I wasn't making any money or anything, and they reprinted that just by chance, and that was like a bunch of money I wasn't expecting, so that was fantastic. I just wish more publishers would do that, but I mean the Americans like IDW pay, it's awful pay. It's like $50 for a pencil. What's that? So 25 quid or something? It's terrible. I mean, comics is not a place to make a lot of money unless you're a superstar, I suppose. And I don't know. There's not many superstars these days.
You can make money in comics. Really?
That's exactly. I know. Well, when I started, that was the idea. We all have that.
I mean, I found a few months ago. I found this notebook that I used to use as an account book, and it had my first comic jobs in, and the rates aren't that much better now than they were then. It's frightening.
Things haven't really changed, have they? I think, they're still, as I understand it, they're still paying the same page rates as they have been for quite a long time, I think. Yeah? Okay.
I think it depends on the publisher, to be honest. Whether it's Marvel, DC. The moment you move to the independents, it drops quite dramatically. But saying that, the independents give a lot of new guys a chance. And so if you're happy to work for the rate, and it gives you an opportunity to kind of learn as well, they've got to do it somewhere. So in some respects that's okay. It's just that it just looks a bit feeble sometimes when you get there.
Right, to bring the mood back up, money. Here we go.
I'm just happy I can make money in comics.
I'm happy to see you, mate. Yeah. I'm always just happy to see you. That's the thing. Right, you get to go on a date with a character from 2000 AD. Right. Yeah. Don't be too pervy about this, right, children? Okay, who do you get
Judge
to go
Death off the list.
Vince, first up.
It's got to be it's Judge Anderson, surely.
Really? You like the blonde? No. Okay.
Well, 2000 AD was filled with such twisted characters. It's hard to find one.
That's why I asked you.
I'll take her to Nando's.
Nando's.
Well,
right,
okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to think of the female character. Oh, I don't know. Durham Red. A bit spicy. Might not come out of it alive, but
hey, spicy. She might like Nando's.
Could be a good evening.
Yeah, even though I'm probably related to her, I would go for Anderson as well. But I'm from the northeast, so I don't mind.
Poor old Judge Herschel.
For me, Wolf Sternhammer would be a good cuddler, I think. Okay, right, we've got a couple of minutes left, so if you want to open it up, if anyone's got a question in the audience.
Yeah, okay.
You were talking earlier about Dredd being in every issue, and I was thinking he's a very difficult character to keep fresh because at his worst he's a very black and white cowboy kind of figure. At his best he's kind of questioning his own place in a fascist organisation. If you didn't have to worry about the fans or 2000 AD and you could evolve the character any way you wanted, which direction would you go?
Oh, good question.
Dun, dun, dun.
Everyone goes to Nando's.
No. I don't know, because I think the fact that he is so versatile is one of the things that's attractive. You do get the humorous stories, and then you do get the really, really intense stories. So I really don't know.
I don't know.
Sorry, that's a cop-out.
No, that's fine.
If I was going to do Dredd, just imagine that. Because I grew up liking him being like the badass, I would try to do a real awesome action story with very much underlying themes, which is what a lot of the Dredd stuff is, I think. There's undercurrents going underneath it, but then the people who just want big explosive action and him absolutely just wrecking everything. Yeah. But that's the kind of guy I am.
The problem with Dredd is, or not a problem, it's just that it seems to me that practically everything seems to be being done with the character and the city. He's been on treks, journeys. I mean, I guess they could kill him.
Yeah.
That might be a bit dramatic, and bring him back somehow. Yeah. You know, the old Marvel way. Yeah. I mean, I can't see what else, any new avenues other than, as they say, the guys have said, like, you know.
He's better as the force of nature, I think, because they've done so much delving into his past and stuff. Yeah, well, that's me personally.
Yeah.
Maybe he takes his helmet off and it's Sylvester Stallone. I'm thinking going that way. Hey, thank you.
Oh, who would buy that?
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. Okay, any more questions from the audience? Any other guys got a question?
Okay, well, I actually got a question for you guys. So, you're talking about Dredd and what you would like to see him do and where he goes. Is Dredd as still relevant now as he was when he was first created? Is there still that idea of a slightly anarchistic society still existing and needing a black and white lawman to bring them all into line and take that almost no nonsense attitude towards any sort of public that they want to bring into it in the story? What I want to know is Dredd still relevant to us in the same way?
I think so, and I think the way that we go on politically in this country, it's going to be very similar to the era when he was created.
Yeah, it's almost like now more than ever. He's becoming more relevant.
Yeah, and as in the 80s when it was commenting on that, you know, hopefully we can do it can do that again.
The greatest stories in Dredd and stuff are normally based on what's going on in society anyway, and then, like, I mean, we all watch the news and stuff, so there's a lot of stuff that writers can take from. So I think there's always going to, depending on what the world's doing at that moment in time, there's always going to be something for Dredd to kick.
Yeah, I think he's almost been prescient in the way that he's sort of foretold things in certain ways. And I think they should just keep doing that, or John Wagner should. I think he should just keep pushing it that way, as far as it will go. A strong character like Dredd's a strong character. You know, it's like Superman. You know, they can last forever, really.
With his blue jeans on.
Yeah, they become mythical characters, and you know that's sort of part of why they're so good.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, mate. Okay, so we're about to finish. Just 3 quick-fire questions. I want hands up in the audience. So, who would win in a fight, Nemesis the Warlock or Dredd? Nemesis? Dredd? Oh, okay. What about you guys? Dredd? Okay.
It's got to be Dredd every time.
Yeah, okay. All right. He does this all the time. Slain or Johnny Alpha? Slain?
Slain.
Johnny Alpha. Oh, old school, yeah.
Outvoted.
Cybermen versus the ABC Warriors. So Cybermen, ABC Warriors. Spot on. Nicely done. Okay. Right, thanks for coming along. Just a round of applause. Jeff Anderson, Adrian Salmon, and even Vince Hunt. Thanks a lot. Thanks, guys.
Geek Force to the past without